What's up, guys? Welcome back to Bourbon. I'm Kyle.
And I'm John.
We taste whiskey. We taste whiskey. We don't know what it is. I give you a price we'd be willing to pay for a bottle without that hype of the label. That being said, we got Mr. John here with us today from Blind Whiskey Reviews. If you haven't checked out his channel, go check it out. Subscribe to it. John, why don't you tell him about it?
It's a blind whiskey review channel. Kind of a weird thing around here, but we do all blind reviews. We have a good time doing it. I'm here joining my buddy Kyle doing some more blind reviews. So, hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah. John was in town, so we're gonna do some stuff together and get some better content for you guys. So anyway, you ready to get into this whiskey?
Absolutely.
Anyway, cheers, sir. Pretty nice color on that. It's kind of a dark amber, I'd say.
Yeah, medium perhaps.
Yeah. Well, it's not super dark, but it's
A
not
little golden color too.
not crazy light either. So. Not a whole lot on the nose.
No, I'm thinking the same thing.
Right, like some of that caramel in there, but
Little caramel, little.
some really light fruit.
The very lightest. I was about to say the same thing. The very lightest of fruit in there. Just a hint of it.
Not a whole lot of wood.
It's pretty one note. Like it's
It
not
is. Like,
very.
there's maybe a tiny bit of floral in there, but yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot going in there. I mean, for the darker color, I expected a little more on it, but
I'm thinking there's maybe like the slightest hint of like a nuttiness back there somewhere.
I could see that kind of like an almond or pecan.
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah. Not like a peanut, but yeah.
No, yeah, like a
Pecan. I think that feels right, like a pecan.
I'll go with it. Woo. A little hot on there. I feel like that's I feel like that's a little hotter than the proof. You know what I'm saying? Like
I feel like it's more alcohol forward than the flavor. It's not balanced. Like there's
Right.
more alcohol than the flavor is, so it feels a little heavy on the alcohol. So maybe we're a little on the younger side.
like you said, yeehaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I don't know if we're on the younger side. I mean, for me, usually my experiences with whiskeys that don't have as much flavor as the proof kind of gives you, it usually are a little bit younger, so maybe we're on the younger side.
some more of that caramel, light fruit. I don't know. There's not a whole lot going on in there.
It feels like a lot of heat and not a lot of flavor, and definitely not a lot of complexity. There's this caramel note. There's this slightly floral note. There's a the very lightest hints of light fruit, but definitely not. It's dominated by a caramel flavor, and there's not much else going on.
So I'm gonna add a couple drops of water, see if that opens it up a little bit. I mean, sorry guys, there's just not a lot going on in there. I really hope the water kind of does its thing, because man.
You know, I just stopped doing the water in my reviews. I got tired of doing it.
I really think that about 80 to 90% of what I've done has not benefited from the water.
No, that's what the exact thing I said, and I don't even know if the reviews come out that I said it on. Maybe it's going to come out this week, but I said,
check it out.
Go check out Blind Whiskey Reviews.
Blind Whiskey Reviews. Do it right
But
now.
I said
Pause this video. New tab. Control T.
But I said the same thing, which was I sit here and I add this water, and it adds an extra minute or two to my video.
Right.
And it 95% of the time, it never improves the whiskey. I'm always telling you, oh, I liked it better before, so I don't
Right.
want to waste anybody's time. So
That's why I'm like, just add this to the list of stuff I would not add water to.
Yeah.
And it's a whole lot longer than the list of stuff I would. Definitely tamed down that ethanol flavor.
it did, and it needed it. So in this case, we're idiots. Add water to your whiskey.
I will say, pretty much every bottle I get, I will, at least on one drink towards the beginning, add some water just to see.
I think it's a good exercise. I think in general, for me, it doesn't benefit the whiskey, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing to do. I just wanted to stop wasting time in reviews doing it, but it definitely is a good practice. If you have a whiskey, add some water to it, see what happens. It can't hurt.
I agree completely. It's when I get a bottle, I try and add a couple drops of water to at least one glass just to know So FOMO, right? Fear of missing out.
Yep.
Like just to know, am I missing out on something that I could have had better? Like
in this case, I think it's the true that pans out to be true because it brings down the alcohol character a little bit, lets some of this flavor come forward a little bit more. I'm tempted to add a little bit more water, as a matter of fact, and just see what else happens.
So more of that caramel, more of that vanilla is starting to show through on it, for sure. So I'm not upset by it. I'll add a couple of extra drops. Like you said, just see what it does. See if it keeps going.
Definitely some vanilla. That slight nutty character maybe came forward a touch more. That pecan or what other nut might it be? Pecan feels right because pecan always has that kind of vanilla-esque character
it's
to it.
Like kind of lighter
like
flavor, like
toasted pecan.
A little more of that vanilla sweetness.
I would say it's still a touch hot in the flavor, but the water did benefit. Like it did let the flavor show through a little bit more.
Yeah, this one I would add water to, but I really think it's definitely drinking above its proof point.
That's for sure.
In ethanol.
I mean, I can say you definitely got a lot down the chest. My tongue has got a really sharp burn on it from this
whiskey. It's all
whiskey.
tingly in there.
Yep.
I've been kind of trying to think about a price. You got a price in mind?
You know, I mean, it's a tough one because I feel like this is obviously a higher proof whiskey, which would mean it would normally garner a higher price. But I feel like it's a younger, higher proof whiskey. So I'm going to say, for me, this is in that lower range of maybe like $35 to $40.
I was just about to say $30 to $40.
Yeah.
So, like you said, like I want to like it more because of the proof and stuff. Or, I mean, it could be like 100 proof that's drinking like 120 proof.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would definitely say I feel like it's well over 100 proof.
It very well could be.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like whatever proof it is, it feels like more than that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you grab a Booker's or something, and you're like, oh, that's really good. It's 127 proof, 128 proof, whatever, but it's not to that same extent of ethanol burn on the palate.
Yeah, and this is kind of another example of it. Higher proof doesn't mean better. Like, a lot of people think that higher proof means it's a better whiskey. That's not always the case. You know, a lot of times higher proof hides imperfections in the whiskey. So for me, if it's a good low proof, I've gotten dogged on this on my channel.
Right.
That I say, I wish this was higher proof. And like, higher proof isn't always better, is what people try to tell me. And that's not true when I'm tasting a lower proof whiskey that I think tastes good and I'm saying higher proof would be better. If it's higher proof and it doesn't taste good, that doesn't mean anything because the higher proof hides all kinds of imperfections in the whiskey. So,
and we were talking about this before. Like, I think we pretty much agreed our ideal range is in that 110 to 115 proof.
Yeah, that's a great spot for whiskey.
It really is, especially if you can get some of the barrel strength stuff that's at that like 105 proof.
Oh, that's killer.
Dude, that's total flavor bomb, but no ethanol burn. Generally.
A lot of good examples of that are like the Smooth Ambler Old Scout single barrels where they were coming in right in that 105, 110 proof range.
The Bell Mead stuff.
Yeah, the Bell Mead stuff is great. And it's fantastic whiskey. And it's so flavorful. And it does not feel like the proof that it is.
Right. So, anyway, should we see what this is?
We might as well.
All right. Well, you are the guest on the show, sir.
Oh, man. Doing the honors. Here we go. Oh! I definitely didn't pick this one out, but I would say that the nuttiness was definitely there. The Jim Beam nutty character was hiding in there.
Kind of was showing through in there a little bit. So, Old Granddad 114, obviously 114 proof, which it feels every bit of it.
Every inch.
So, I mean, retail price on that is what, like $30-ish?
Yeah, I can get around $30, maybe 28 if I find a good deal on it.
I think around here it's like 30, 35. Tennessee's got higher taxes.
Yeah.
So this is one online that people are like, oh, I love OGD 114. I love it, I love it, I love it. And I've always said, like, it's not terrible, but at the same time, like, I don't know what all the hype is about. And doing it blind, I mean, I stand behind that.
I mean, in this case, it definitely kind of proves out that this whiskey, while it's decent, the high proof doesn't quite work for it. It's just too much. There doesn't feel like the age is enough on it to kind of balance that proof out. I've reviewed this whiskey, and I feel like at other times I've tasted this whiskey, and it tasted not quite as hot as this one is. But I mean, it kind of goes to show you, it's not necessarily consistent on that either. So,
I feel like this would really benefit at like 107 proof-ish.
I think 10 proof down, like in the 105, 107 proof range, I think it'd be fantastic. And then they might call it Baker's, but.
Patreon members, we absolutely love you guys. You guys are what makes all this happen. We got t-shirts on Teespring. They're right here. I'll show some of them to you guys. Different designs for you. Until next week, Friday, noon Central, drink blind.
Bien. Bien.